Oh well, in Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity, a silver Lionel can turn a nice, balmy Midsummer Night's Dream into a 2-hour horror trip in the crowded bus in the middle of sea of armpits and body sweat during the heat of summer. But don't worry, I'll show you in the video tips and tricks how to master the combat and combo system and how to shred your way through the battlefields at a flash. One tip in particular will, and I promise you, change and improve your whole approach to the battles. But more about that later on in the video. Before we start, the question of the day. Which character do you like to fight with most and why? Let me know and write it down in the comments. And while we're on it, please smash that like button so the YouTube algorithm sees that you liked that video and more people can learn about the amazing things you can do in Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity. Thanks for that, but now let's dive right in. Hi, my name's Kay and I'm an enthusiastic Nintendo lover, upcoming streamer and hopeless second-class gaming world comedian. I publish all kind of tutorials for the world of Nintendo games, stream here on YouTube and spice it up with more or less funny comedy skits. Well, at least I try. But now, let's get into the video. Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity is a Zelda spin-off game based in the world of Zelda Breath of the Wild with gameplay taken from the Dynasty Warrior games. But what does that mean? That means a kill counter beyond the thousands and fighting techniques with which you can destroy your opponents with blasting strikes. But no sword, Shiekah Slate or Maracas Master has ever fallen from the sky. So in this guide I'll show you how to get the most out of your weapons in Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity and how to beat the Silver Lionel's ass. More about that ominous Lionel will follow in a later part. That brings me to the first question of this video. How to use combos in combat effectively. Let's start with the basics. Every character has its own combos. These are executed with the keys Y and X, where Y is used for a light attack and X for a heavy attack. At the beginning of the game, you can only play with a few characters and they don't have the complete moveset yet. You think this is stupid? Believe me, it's definitely better that way. Once you have completed a few missions in the game, you won't see the map because of all new combos you'll be able to unlock. Literally, the whole map will be flooded with them. It's easier to start with less, so you can learn the mechanics of the game with fewer moves before having a repertoire of moves you can't use in the slightest. One good news I have though, the principle of additional powers is the same for all characters. Another good news, it still differs anyway. With Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity, every character got an additional ability on the ZR key or sometimes by hitting the X button. Link can shoot powerful arrows with his bow here, Zelda can trigger the abilities of her Shiekah runes, and Urbosa can instantly recharge her power bar after launching a powerful shock attack on enemies. Of course, you can also strafe or perform a flurry attack by perfectly dodging or parrying the attack by using the shield and pressing Y when the timing is correct, so that no damage is done. I have already gone into detail about these techniques in my previous guide. If you want to know more about them, click on the link in the top right corner of this video. But Kay, how can I unlock new combos, you may ask? As mentioned before, your character does not start with this entire moveset from the beginning. This has to be unlocked by certain small missions on the world map. How does that work? While progressing through the game or after unlocking a new hero, small icons with the image of the corresponding protagonist appear on the map. Here you can either unlock new combos, more hearts, or for example, another special attack bar. What do you need for that? In most cases it is materials you can get in battle, from merchants or missions you have to complete with the respective character to get new unlockings. If you would like to learn more about material farming, please check out the beginner's guide later on. But now you stay here, of course. You want to learn about combos and fighting techniques, so back to the battlefield. How to use stronger combo attacks. Every character has its own special abilities when it comes to combos in combat. If you look into the move list in the pause menu, while you have selected a certain character on the battlefield, you will get a short description of the respective special keys. Let's look at an example using Urbosa. Urbosa has her classic combos that you can perform by combining the Y key with the X key. The special thing about her is that as soon as you finish the combo with a strong attack, you have the possibility to press the X key several times. Urbosa takes it one step further and gives you a final blow on your combo. Finally, press the ZR key at the right time to recharge a part of your energy bar. This way you can make several strong attacks in a row and deal devastating damage to your enemies. If you press the ZR button on her without performing a combo, she will charge her power bar directly over a short period of time. In Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity, all characters possess this or a similar mechanic. Daruk explodes his magma stones, and Mipha can teleport into small water wells and heal her companions. This gives the whole combat system another dose of depth, and so you can effectively defeat large hordes of enemies and strong bosses in a very short time. I know, you're waiting for the tip that will change your entire playing style in Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity. But before we get to that, I would like to thank you all, and I'm happy that you're part of my videos. If you like my content and if you want to see more videos, guides and tips and tricks from the world of Nintendo games in the future, become a part of the community. How does it work, you may ask? Just subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell and watch the new and upcoming videos. This will help me to produce new content and provide you with more helpful, valuable and funny videos. But enough self-promotion, let's move on to the next point. What weapon should I use? In terms of weapons, Link is the only one to have different fighting styles due to different weapon types. At least at the beginning of the game. More on that in the upcoming full character guides. He is the only one, at the beginning as I said, who can swing a bi-hander like a claymore or a hammer, besides a one-handed shield combo, or wield a spear with which he can make lightning-fast attacks on his opponents. All other characters had different weapons they can use, but they all belong to the same type. They may offer different stats and looks, but there is no significant change in the gameplay. Here it depends mainly on which seals, stats and which level the weapon has. But nevertheless, it's important to keep upgrading your weapons or search for stronger ones. Later on in the game, the fights will become increasingly harder to win, and with a stronger weapon, you'll have a much easier time to compete with your enemies. On to the next point. How to combine the Shiekah runes and elemental rods. Each character has a slightly different use of the respective runes. The best way to show the difference is with the bomb runes. Link, for example, throws several bombs in a row and can aim at his enemies. Zelda lets a bomb runner storm the enemies and spits bombs on them all the time. And Daruk, on the other hand, for example, throws a huge bomb on the enemies in front of him. I recommend you to try out the runes shortly before the battle, so that you always use them correctly if certain enemies can be weakened by it and thus reveal the weak point meter for you to attack. An example would be the Cryonis rune when enemies attack you. This is indicated by a symbol above the head just before they start this strike. Link creates a single block of ice for the enemy to run into. Zelda uses this to create icicles and throw them at the enemies from above. Keep in mind how your currently selected character uses the runes on the battlefield, so you don't accidentally make the wrong move in the heat of a fight. The elemental rods can be used effectively in Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity to stun enemies or to move enemies from the disadvantaged element directly into the weak point state, which is also easier to break from the beginning. The rule is as follows: ice beats fire, fire beats ice, and electro is effective against enemies in the wet. The radius of action of the elemental weapons also depends on the underlying ground. For example, if you use the fire rod on a grass surface, the area of effect is much larger than if you would use them on a concrete path or in the water. Always keep these points in mind and use the greatest potential of the weapons. An ice Lynel can be wiped out in a few seconds by using the flame rod, an advantage you should definitely take into account. I've been talking a lot about the weak point bars of certain enemies. In the most cases, they appear after you dodge a strong attack from them or interrupt them with a respective Shiekah rune. But there is one more major way you can trigger that bar. Every major enemy in Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity has a particular weakness that you can exploit during combat. If you use a targeted attack against it, a clank sound effect will be heard when a hit is successful and the weak point bar will appear briefly. In this time window, you also have the possibility to weaken it with some attacks and to hit the enemy closer towards the absolute weak point state. You can take advantage of the following weak points. Bokoblins have the weak point at the head. The weak point of moblins are the horn. A stone talus can be weakened by hitting the ore chunk at the top of the main stone. The weak point of a Hinox is the eye. And the two horns of Lynels are also the point you should aim for. Guardians are a special case. Like in Breath of the Wild, you can also block their laser beam with a perfect shield parry and throw it back to the Guardian. This will put the Guardian into a state where the weak point bar is displayed for a longer time, a perfect moment to inflict immense damage. The second option is to aim at the eye with some other attack. This way you can hit the weak point or stop the Guardian from firing his laser. How to affect those points effectively? In most cases you have to take the high ground to be able to hit that point. You can do this either by an ability your hero is able to perform, or you can jump off a wall, get into the air, and make an aerial attack when you're near the weak point. But regardless how you trigger the weak point bar, here is the game-changing tip I've been talking about from the beginning, which will change your success on the battlefield dramatically. As soon as the weak point bar is displayed, you have to use your stasis rune quickly. This will not only freeze the enemy for a short period of time, but also the display will stay on for a longer time. This allows you to put some enemies directly into the absolute weak point state by using strong combos within such an attack. No problem, you can thank me later after you've masterfully defeated all those poopin' Bogblin poofs. There you have it. These are the most effective ways to effectively destroy your opponents in Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity. If you liked the video and you want to see more content from the world of Nintendo games, from guides to news about your favorites, subscribe right now. Yes, right down there by the red button right now and hit the notification bell. That way you won't miss any new videos and you help me to keep producing videos you like. If you have an idea what else you want to know about Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity, let me know and write it down in the comment section below. Thanks a lot and see you soon.